Welcome to WorkSpan TV. I'm Marcia Rhodes with WorldatWork, and today we're discussing employee satisfaction with pay. And joining me is Karmen Reid from Mayo Clinic. Welcome, Karmen.
Hi, thanks for having me today, Marcia.
Karmen, I heard that you took employee satisfaction with pay at Mayo Clinic from 17% to 82%. Tell us what you did to achieve such an impressive outcome.
All right, sure thing. This goes back to 1999. We did an employee engagement survey, and one of the questions on the survey was, how satisfied are you with your pay? And we had I think it was 17%, 19%, a very low score on that. And so we went back, and also employees could write in some comments. And so as we looked into those comments, and as we did a deeper dive, we found that employees were saying things like, pay increases are not predictable, the program is not fair, I don't understand why I'm paid the way I am, and just a general feeling of not being competitive in the industry. So what we did was we created a new pay program. We spent the year of 2000 doing that, and created many tenets of our compensation philosophy, and probably the biggest one is transparency and open communication. And we had always paid the same way, and so each year we have really focused on communication. And so although we have not changed the way we pay people, because of our concerted efforts with transparency and communication, the score went from that 17% in 1999 to our most recent data point of 82% overall satisfaction.
How often do you measure employee satisfaction with pay?
We have an institution-wide engagement survey every other year. And again, just one of the questions is satisfaction with pay and with total compensation. And then in the off years, the years that the organization does not do an enterprise-wide survey, we in compensation do a more focused, targeted survey to managers and employees on how satisfied are they with the program, with their actual pay, and the method of communication. And it's interesting, we break out the data, supervisors and employees. And when we ask employees, where do you like to get information about pay? I would say 99.9% say, from my supervisor. And then we ask the supervisor, how do you like to communicate pay to your employees? And they say, oh, please send in HR. I don't want to talk about pay to my employees. And so to address that, then we have offered classes to help provide the supervisors with tools so that they feel more comfortable in having information sessions with their employees.
That's wonderful. Tell us a little bit more about these training sessions for supervisors.
The main one that we do is a class called Answering Tough Questions About Salary, the Manager's Role. And it's a 2-hour class. The way we have it structured is that the first hour is a basic understanding of how our compensation program works. And we actually get them involved with looking at salary information. We have a copy of a salary market sheet from a actual salary survey, and walk them through how we use that to make decisions. And then the second half of the class is we have about 7 questions that, again, these were derived from the write-in comments from the engagement survey. They fell into general buckets of questions or comments. You know, why, or am I paid competitively? How do you figure out my salary? How do you calculate an offer rate when somebody joins the organization? So we take those 7 or so questions, and what we do, rather than a lecture kind of format, we give each one of a small group in our class one of the questions and ask them to brainstorm on what the answers might be. And then they report what they think might be the answers. And then we give them some helpful hints on some other ways that they could address those questions.
I'm sure that this type of training goes a long way in improving employee perception of pay transparency.
Right. And the supervisors we get accolades from the class. They appreciate the frankness, the honesty in which we provide the information. And then we follow that up with that. Every year we look at all of our benchmark jobs. We have about, I'd say, 4,000 benchmark jobs. And we sit down with each manager and go through the market data with them. Another one of our tenets in our program is that it's a collaborative process. And we don't pretend in HR that we know every job inside and out. And so we gather all of this salary survey, and we have a database where we collect all of that information. We sit down with the manager and say, have we matched this job appropriately, both from a content as well as, is it a local job, is it a regional job, is it a market or a national market job? And they give us input that, yes, you're right on target, or no, that's not good, you need to change it. And so when it's all said and done, we share the results with them, and then we use that for decision making for the following year's annual adjustment.
Let's talk a little bit about Mayo Clinic's compensation philosophy.
Our philosophy for most jobs is to pay at the 60th percentile. The atmosphere at Mayo Clinic is a very collaborative, team-based environment. And so, surprisingly to many companies, we do not pay for performance. We expect a very high level of performance. We deal with performance issues as they come, but our idea is that we'll pay above market and then focus on non-monetary ways of compensation and rewards throughout the year. So it's the Hertzberger theory of motivational performance management, where you take care of compensation and benefits, but then you focus more on the day-to-day interactions between supervisor and employees, informal rewards, and so on.
Karmen, do you have any words of advice for our viewers before we sign off?
Again, I would say, based on the success that we've had with our program, I want to emphasize that the satisfaction, even though it went up from 17% to 82%, it wasn't because of any change with the program itself. We didn't suddenly start paying everybody more. It was a focus on communication, transparency. We felt we have nothing to hide, and so we might as well get it out there so that everybody can see it. And then we have held true. Every year we have one of the pieces in our program that employees wanted is predictability. So they know every year at a certain time of the year to hear an announcement from Human Resources about what the following year's pay increase will be. So they like that very much. So my words of advice, so to speak, might be communication. You can never communicate too much, and you probably need to do it in many formats: classes, online information, a robust website, blogs, department meetings, and all of those kinds of things. Another component would be collaboration with managers, predictability, and fairness and market competitiveness.
This is great information and advice. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Sure. Thanks again for having me.
For WorldatWork, I'm Marcia Rhodes.